Hello, and welcome back to another episode of 5 Lives, 5 Styles. And last time we built this really cool street, and I'm so happy with how these different buildings turned out. And honestly, this is a very good start, but obviously we have quite a few things left to do. One of the major things, of course, is there's no interiors to any of these buildings. And as you can see, there is a slime farm thing here. And here I have storage building written on the side. And of course here we have our bone meal farm. And another thing we have is the mangrove farm. So there are a few interior functions, but I don't have an actual interior. So what I want to focus on this episode is adding a few functions, but also actual interiors. Now this building over here, I want to dedicate to be a furnace array / a smeltery. And this line over here, the minecart line, I want to feed in some of those materials from the bamboo farm that I want to add underneath the mangrove farm here. So maybe to the side here, I want to add a bamboo farm. And then I will get that bamboo, transport it upwards to the minecart, and then I will transport it into the furnace array, use it as fuel, and then I can smelt whatever I want there. Another thing I want to do is transform this bone meal. I'm thinking to do it under the ground or something. And I want to transfer the bone meal to the bamboo farm and to the mangrove farm. Now, one of the ideas that I had, and I will show it in a little bit, is digging out slight part of the ground here and then show basically sort of a sewer or a water line or I don't know, something. And I want to be able to then see all those bone meal thrown into the water stream and go into this building. Maybe it'll be around, I don't know, here or something, into these plants or underneath the plants. I'm not exactly sure what will make a lot of sense and what will look good, but those will be the first few visual components of the city. And I'm planning to add many more later down the line. Something that I also didn't mention is that in the meantime, we have passed way over 1,000 days in this survival world. Now, unfortunately, I did die once very early on, so sadly, we are not deathless, but look at that, 1,112 days in this world already. It's going so fast. Before we start building, let's first craft some redstone components, since I will be needing quite a few. Hopefully, this will be enough. Alright, well, I just went ahead and used this building over here as a temporary storage building. I made it a little bit more organized, so now we have actually things sorted once again, and over here is all of the redstone components that I've crafted for now, and of course a few useful things like scaffolding. This hopefully will be enough to do all of the things I want to do. I made a few extra things of everything, so hopefully I can build whatever I want today. And I am going to first build the interior of the mangrove building. And I was thinking of maybe doing it sort of like a restaurant or something. This gives me a little bit of a restaurant vibe. But what I do want to do is make an interior first, because of course we now have a door like this, but we don't have an interior yet. And this is where the chests were before, and now I want to make an interior here. So let's first do a plan of how I want the interior, where I want a few side entrances, and where I want to access the farm, because obviously this will be our access point. And I maybe want to do just a back door for like the employees. And then with that, I can access both the proper farm and the mangrove farm. So let's get started. And there we go. It is done. The interior is now fully completed, at least so far as I have ideas for now. Maybe later I will add a few more ideas. As you can see, I added the tables. We've got some paintings on the walls. We have a few plants and some carpet. I also added here the bar and a little bit of storage behind the bar. We've got a few passages here. One that will go to the propagule farm over here. With the farm here, of course, we have the access that we can turn it on over there. And then all the way at the other side, which is the other. Maybe I should put a sign around here for employees only. Let me go ahead and really quickly do that. And there we go. All right, so at the other side here is a very small access for the storage of the mangrove, for the mangrove farm. And then as we go outside here, I also added a little bit out front, a few tables, because as I said, this is going to be a restaurant. And of course, we would like some tables outside, and I added a few candles for some ambiance and a little plant. And this is one of those dividers that you usually see at restaurants outside. And this, of course, is going to be a different building that will cut off this part of that building, but those are the interior walls, so that should be no problem. And then, of course, that's going to come out here, and maybe there's going to be a building over here as well. And so yeah, that's this building done. I think next up, what we're going to be doing is working on the bamboo shop slash flower shop or something like that. And what I also want to do, as I noted down here, I want to have basically all of the farmable flowers that you can use bone meal on, like lichen, like glowberries, even add some cacao beans and all these kinds of things. And I also want a very simple bamboo farm that you can use bone meal on. That is sort of like an instant bone meal kind of thing, or instant bamboo thing. And I want to have a section where we have an automatic bamboo farm. That's basically like your standard sugarcane farm. But all of this is going to be in a bamboo shop here. And I thought of a name that sort of encapsulated both the bamboo side, but also the sort of plants section. And it's going to be bamboosh, which is pretty funny, I thought. So let's go ahead and add the interior for this building as well. I won't bore you with all of the small little details. I will just probably cut back here when that's done as well. Maybe I will show a few shortcuts as we get along. I have done some planning over here. I have put a few things in already, and as you can see, a lot of dirt. I tried to map out a little of what I want. Now, I'm not entirely sure what I want to do with the window here. I've put in a bar of dirt. This could maybe be like a walk area with trapdoors, but I'm not sure if I want a walkway up there because it feels very cramped. So maybe I'll keep these windows open. Maybe I'll put something in front of the windows. I'm not entirely sure yet. Now here I want the walls to be somewhat back, and I want the plants to be in front as sort of a display. I want to be able to come in here with some bone meal these plants and get them. Same with this, we have a berry bush here, a drip leaf, some glowberries. Here I want to put in a tree where we can put the cacao bean over or on top, so I can bone meal that and harvest it. Maybe put like a little planter area around this. And I might move this a little bit to give it a bit more space around. Then here in the corner, I want to put pickles. I want to put like a core block here with some water and pickles, so we can harvest those. Over here we have some glow lichen. Then over here we get to the back of the shop where the actual counter is, where you would go up with all of the things that you want to buy, like new flowers or new plants, and you would buy them here. So through the back, I think we access the main bamboo farm. And then maybe in the other side here, there is like a double door that gives access to both the automatic farm and the big bamboo farm. Something I did forget to mention, however, is that I now have sunflowers. This was pretty much the only flower or farmable block that I was missing, and it took a very short trip because it was actually quite close. There was an island nearby across the ocean in roughly that direction. And I did find some mycelium islands nearby, which were quite close, and not far from there, across the ocean, I found the sunflowers. So yeah, now that all of the flowers are complete, I am gonna go ahead and start the interior building. Okay, let's quickly skip ahead to where I have completed the redstone farms. I just made a very simple and basic bamboo farm. I struggled a little bit with making it automatic enough so that it doesn't activate the piston too much, but here we go. I just used an observer for the piston, and I'm using a pulse, basically a standard whatever the clock is called, I forgot the name. I'm just using that, the observer clock, I think that's what the name was. And essentially this is going to just instantly use all of the bone meal from the dispensers to grow the bamboo and farm it. And then over on the other side here I have a passive farm with just 2 rows of bamboo, and a few observers to trigger the whole row of pistons, and then a minecart collection system with a small check to unload properly. And of course it gathers it very slowly, but this should be relatively AFK. I should also maybe close or open this based on having the farm turn on or off. I should maybe add that. And then of course here I need to do the hallway for the shop. But I figured I'd first get in these few farms so that I have something to work on. Alright, and there we go. It's completed. I am quite happy actually with the interior, and I kept most of the design as I did with the dirt. And I just moved the glowberries around, I think. I've got all of the plants here. I moved the pickles. Oh, I forgot what they were called for a moment. I moved them to over here because over here I added the tree. Initially I wanted it in the center, but I wanted the center to be a little bit more open. So I moved the tree to the side here. So here we can farm our cocoa beans if we ever need those. I added a little bit of a detail to the door, and I got rid of the bar as I wasn't really liking it. It was too small, and now from the outside we can also just look in and see through the windows a little bit, which I think is nice. Then if we go through the center, of course, we're walking over this sort of improvised carpet where I'm using the glazed terracotta. And we're walking up to the counter. I added a little bit of storage behind the counter. And then, of course, behind here, there is a little office. I went a little bit light on the detail, just a little bit of storage space, a light, some carpet, and that's all. And then here is the output of the automatic bamboo farm. And over here, this is the sort of active one. The idea is that eventually I will be moving over the bone meal from the other side, which is something I will work on next. And you turn on the lever here, and this will start pumping out the bone meal from the dispensers. And then as the bamboo grows over the observer over there, the piston will push and drop all of the bamboo into the little chute down there on top of the mud, and it will get picked up and put in the chest. So that's pretty nice and easy. We won't have to do a whole lot, especially if we have the bone meal farm running over at this side, which is currently running as well. And it's just gonna output a little bit of bone meal. I have some bones and bone blocks still left over from my mass production. I used a bunch to get some quick bamboo because we used so much for the interior. Next up, what I want to do is I want to build a small interior for this farm so that we have a nicer access point than whatever this is, right? We don't want this shop to be like this. And I want to make a cool connection chute all the way to the other side. And I thought of a pretty cool idea. I'm gonna dig a small hole here in the floor. I'm not exactly sure, maybe over here somewhere. And I'm gonna use some of these trapdoors. I don't think I have any yet, but I'll show it later, of course. I'll use some trapdoors. And when you're walking over here, you can actually look down and you see a water stream, and you can just see the items from the bone meal to the basically the propagule farm, the mangrove farm, and now the bamboo farm. Another thing I wanted to mention is that I came up with a few names for the shops. The bamboo shop I already mentioned, which is the bamboosh, but for the bone meal shop, I wanted to name this Bo Neils, which I think is pretty fun. So let's go ahead and work on the interior here. But first, I want to add another extension to the mine. And this time I am thinking of doing an underwater / flooded section. And this right here is going to be the direction that we're going. We made this intersection last time, or well, at least a few episodes back. Last time, of course, we did some blacksmith and a little bit of storage out front. But this time I think we're going to go ahead and start digging this way. And let's go ahead and make a flooded section. And as we're building this episode's mineshaft extension, I want to thank you for your support. If you liked the video, please let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe because it helps the algorithm. And there we go. That is the extension for today. A very small flooded section. I imagine this as being a route downwards. We're just creating a mine. And then all of a sudden we hit this section over here and it starts flooding. And then some of the rail gets degraded. Some of the lamps fall down because, you know, this is long abandoned basically. And then, you know, that's sort of the state that it's left in. One of the lamps is still on. I could remove that one, I suppose, and place some lichen in here to make this tunnel darker. That might be one thing that I still do. And yeah, so that's gonna be it for this. Now let's get back to the bamboo farm and the bone meal that we want to transfer over there, and doing the decoration for the bone meal interior. Alright, now I know this isn't much of an interior, but at least we got a little bit of the redstone done. I wanted to make a splitter for the bone meal so that some of the bone meal will end up in a chest where I can collect it from the farm. And the other one is going to be dispensing it off to the other farms. Now, I might have to do another of these splitters that I got from Mango over here using the droppers. So these droppers will switch this item back and forth and will lock the hoppers accordingly. One of the hoppers is connected all the way over here to the chest, and the other hopper line is connected over here to the dropper. And of course, down here, you can see it flip-flops back and forth, triggering the dropper, switching the item over to the other side, which is then read by these comparators, which then turns on this, which sends a signal back to the dropper, etc. Then what I do to lock the system, essentially, is over here, as long as there is an item in here, we allow the droppers to flip-flop and send items through, because this chest is pretty much full the entire time anyway, right now, because it's testing. But as soon as that item will not be in the dropper anymore, then it should be fine. Later down the line, of course, I want to connect this up with the other farms, and I might have to build 1 or 2 of these splitters. I'm not entirely sure how I'm going to do this for a 3-way split. I'll have to figure that out, because I do have... Or maybe it's even a 4-way split or something. No idea. We'll figure it out, I guess. But yeah, this is the very basic entry here. We just have a small floor with a little bit of a look through at the bone meal. Then here I am intending to do sort of a shop entry with just an access point for the chest. And that's pretty much it. Maybe some decorations on the walls. I'm definitely going to have to build something on top of this. And it's just going to be a very small shop. That's kind of the intention. We, of course, want to hide the farm. Maybe I will have an extra door to access the farm or something. But and there we go. It's completed. I made it sort of a waiting room with a desk. We've got some lights. I'm using the mini blocks here, I think for the first time. Got some lit redstone lamp mini blocks. And here we got some actual redstone lamps. I kept them a little bit simple, not with all the trapdoors like we do with some of the other shops. But this keeps it nice and clean. I added some benches and a little bit of details. And here, of course, is the way where we're going to be able to see the bone meal go all the way through. Now, I still have to make that connection to the bone meal farm. That's what we're going to be doing next. I mean, to the bamboo farm, sorry. And I did add some details on the outside because I kind of need some visual here that this is to do with bone meal. Right, so I added some bones here, because I think they look a little bit cooler than just the bone meal texture. And I added the name, which is the Bone-Meals. Over here, I also added a sign for the bamboo shop in this case. And I have gone with the color red. Not sure if I like the color red. Maybe alternate brown or something like that. But for now, this works. Next up, I am going to add a chute that goes from here somewhere. I already started a layer down right there. And I'm going to continue that. And probably either this row or this row, I'll get another gap. I'll probably dig this out already. And then over here, there will be water. And then we'll see it flow as we're above here. So that will be very fun. So that's up next. Let's go ahead and skip past when I've connected everything together, because this redstone is going to be a little bit annoying. I'm going to have to do some sorting to evenly divide it between the 3 farms. Yeah, you don't really want to be sitting there and waiting, so let's just skip ahead when it's done. Something that I noticed while I was making the tunnels to connect the bone meal to the bone meal farms, or well, in this case, the mangrove farm, is that I didn't really leave myself an access point from the mangrove building. So I think I have to make a connection to this building here somehow. Alright, and we're back. I completed the transfer from the bone meal shop with the bone meal here, all the way underground. We can have a little view of the bone meal going through here, all the way underneath the bone meal shop. Now, the rest of the transfer or the route is kind of invisible, but you can see it here. It'll arrive at this side. I have a little bit of a dropper elevator that goes all the way up. And then at the top here, it'll transfer in another water column all the way over here. And this is to go around to a new splitter. This is another splitter, the same that I have at the dispensers or the bone meal shop actually. And you can see that one of these lines is going down. A lot of hoppers here, unfortunately, but here this one goes to the Mangrove shop. And I only connected it up to the propagules, or actually the Mangrove farm itself, not to the propagules, because these have like, I can show it real quick. You can see it, they have these observers right next to it, so it's kind of difficult to feed in automatically. This one is so compact, so I am just gonna go ahead and feed this one manually if I ever need it, because I don't really need to have that many propagules anyway. And I suppose when bone meal arrives here, I could just grab it from one of these and just put it over there. Now, I'm not equally splitting these, so this will probably have to be split manually when I ever do this. And then over here on the other side, this section goes down here to a three-way splitter. Now, this is something that took a bit of finicking and playing around with to try and get this to work properly in the space that I had. Now, I do have a lot of space backwards here, and you'll notice that it is actually pistons that are turned on here by a row of dispensers and hoppers combined. Droppers, sorry. And the droppers that has the icon in it, or the item in it, will turn off one of these pistons, letting the water flow through, and one of the items along with it that is getting dispensed here. So that will equally split this over here, and this is where the bamboo shop is. We have like this automatic section that we can turn on. So if I turn this on, this will start pumping out bamboo really, really quickly, and we can just see it enter this chest. I think it should. Yep, there we go. Some of it is already dropping. So this one can just be left on for quite a while, but I'm not going to do that because currently I don't really need any more bamboo. So this is really exciting. I have, of course, made myself a temporary maintenance door, but I don't think I'll need that anymore. So we can go ahead and close that. Actually, let's make it equal to the rest of the wall, otherwise this will look very ugly. Now onto the last project, because part of this, of course, is that we want to use the bamboo as a fuel source. So, of course, on this end, we have the automatic... Oh my goodness, this filled up in the meantime. That is a lot of bamboo. Well, it's a good thing because we're going to need this for fuel. And we're going to be doing that in a building just a little bit further. As I already mentioned, I want to use this minecart track up here. And that's where we're going to fuel, sort of put the bamboo in a cart all the way through here and drop it over here in this building. I want to build a furnace array here. I already written it down, and I think we're just going to do it on the left side and maybe on the right side. Have like a row of furnaces, drop the bamboo in as a fuel, and maybe have a drop-off point for the items, maybe on this side or maybe on this side, where they will be automatically picked up and turned around with a minecart or something like that. So yeah, let's go ahead and add this. I think I'll first add the furnace array, and then I'll add the minecart connection, and probably like the input and output, I suppose, for the smeltery. And that is going to be the very last section for today's episode. And yeah, let's go ahead and finish it really quickly. All right, here we go. The final piece of this system is finally in. I added a small building here in this beautiful building. And these furnaces are, of course, all going to be our big smeltery or furnace array. And as you can see, the minecart comes by. There we go. As it's filling these furnaces with bamboo. Over here we have output chest. Now there is a bit of garbage in here because that fell through. But let's go ahead and put some of this copper ore that I have here. Let's put that in the chest. And that should then be dispensed. And hopefully we'll see another cart going around there as well. There we go, there was another one. And now there should be copper going into these, hopefully. Alright, let's check. I wanted to show you guys the way that this works anyway. So now that we have the chest, this is the input chest. That should be connected to, there we go, to this minecart. Well, the copper is out of there at least, so it should have made its way into the hoppers, but I have done it in the incorrect way, haven't I? I see what I have done. Silly me, I have... Oh no, I'm gonna have to switch these around. That's at least not that big of a deal. The only problem is that I've linked this one up here with the whole system. I'll go ahead and explain that, and I'll fix the other problem in just a little bit. So what I've got going on here is pretty cool, actually. And we have a bamboo chest here. It's empty. And I don't know why it's empty. That does not... Oh, I have to fix that, I guess. Yeah, that's the only problem that I'm still having, is that when this one is empty, then it gets stuck here. And that is something I'm going to have to fix. So what I'm doing here is I'm essentially checking, is this hopper full of bamboo? If yes, then I will flick this piston over here and turn this line on, which will unlock the hopper and let the items go through. However, maybe what I should do instead is not do that at all. I'm not sure. Maybe I have to unlock it immediately as soon as there is an item to be detected in there or something. I'm gonna have to figure that out. And while I do that, let's go ahead and take a look at the minecart on its route. As you can see outside here, it's gonna travel all the way over there, and then down here is gonna arrive at a similar station where it's gonna take the bamboo, and then it's gonna wait until it's completely full, and then it's gonna send it. So I don't understand how it got sent while not being completely full. That is something that I'm gonna have to solve, I think, because that shouldn't be the case. It should always send a full chest with bamboo. The only thing that I can think of maybe is that this got sent by me by accident. Alright, I made a fix as we see this cart leave off again. I think what I was missing here is sort of overflow protection. Because as this one fills up, the bottom one fills up, and maybe the furnaces down there all fill up, this one starts to overflow and overflow. And at that point, it won't ever trigger the empty anymore, which sort of opens this gate and unlocks the hopper and stuff like that. So what I have done, as you can see here, as this one arrives and starts to fill up the remaining stuff, as soon as it fills up, this one triggers again and is like, hey, you know what? That minecart can go because this one's full. And that also unlocks the hopper, allowing more stuff to flow down. So I think this works pretty nicely now. So in case this one ever runs completely out, it will also enable this one and lock the hopper again and stuff like that. Other than that, oh, whoops, I just blocked that one. I changed up these two. I'm gonna have to give this one a little bit of momentum though. Let's see if that accidentally fixed it. I swapped them around, and it took a little bit of... I don't know why is there a floating gate here. That's not needed. So this one is now going over the bottom row, and the other one is now going over the top row. So now if we put in the raw copper, that should now be put in the furnaces. Let's go ahead and see if that actually works. Oh, there we go. There we go. That is pretty satisfying. It works. It finally works. Ah, I'm so happy with this. This whole system is very satisfying. And now I'm actually going to go ahead and wait until we have a minecart that is crossing over us. And I want to see it from down here. Oh, there it goes. I like how it's just barely making it over, though. I am a little bit worried that maybe at some point it'll stop. Because for some reason, every time it makes it over, it has less momentum or something. I'm not entirely sure. There we go. It goes back. I do love it. I want to have more of that stuff. Like, we have this water flow. We have that. I also want to have, like, maybe over here or something. Or later down the line. Something where items are being shot out of the window into the building next to it. That could be fun. And yeah, just add more units or more uses to buildings. Like this one, for example. I have added storage building. That could be fun. Because this one is squeezed in between a few farms. And of course the furnace array. Yeah, this is great. I love filling up the area with the building interiors. And it's really starting to come together. Giving me a lot of reason to visit. Now, I haven't given the furnace array / smeltery a name. If any of you have a good idea for a name, please do let me know in the comments. And for the next video, I want to focus more on the area back here. I want to start focusing on the entrance to the mine, because I have been annoyed at the fact that I have to walk up the stairs all the way. And the deep slate with the stairs down there is just not looking great. It of course has the mine and the geode down here. I want to completely revamp those and make them look great as part of this mine. And of course down there we have the deep dark. That is also pretty scary, but I want to build a structure in here somewhere to which we can go down and just start working on this entrance, because I think this is the only thing that I want to connect. I want to connect this to the roads upstairs and connect them all together and make the world come alive a little bit more, as this area has definitely inspired me to keep going. Something else I want to do is a little bit more active. I want to start digging into some of the upgrades, because this is of course nice and blue, but you know, we're how many days? 1182 days ahead in this world, and I think it's about time we start go for netherite. It's gonna be a little bit of a challenge because we're supposed not to die, or try not to die. So yeah, that's gonna be pretty exciting for next episode. Alright, that is it for this episode. If you like this episode, please like and subscribe, and I hope to see you in the next one.